Hey, I'm Dr. Dave. Did you know that one of the best things you can do as a parent when your child's experiencing a really strong emotion is to hold up an emotional mirror? I'm Dr. Dave, and on today's Thrive in 5, I'll share some parenting tips about how to manage meltdowns and tackle tough emotions. I remember when our 4 children were ages 8, 6, 4, and 2. I think surviving those years as a parent was nothing short of a miracle. It can be both physically and emotionally draining to manage schedules and meal times and even those meltdowns. So what do? Well, I turn to the best research and science out there. I'm a huge fan of these 2 books, some of the best parenting books ever written, in my opinion. They both discuss emotions and empathy quite well. In fact, John Gottman even says that empathy not only matters, it is the foundation of effective parenting. So let's dig in and talk about strong emotions for a second. And that goes for both children and parents. When a human experiences a strong emotion, it happens in the back part of our brain. And when it's intense, it tends to hijack the front part of our brains where we make decisions, pay attention, and think things through. So a common mistake we tend to make as parents is trying to reason with our child who is scared or angry or really sad. In other words, we're trying to make them use the front part of their brain when their back part is taking over. So in simple terms, when there are strong emotions, rather than using logic, just listen. I call it reflecting, or holding out the emotional mirror and reflecting back in words what you're seeing. For example, when we lived in Missouri, I would pick up our 6-year-old daughter from dance class. One day, I pull up and she came to the car. She gets in, slams the door, and then sobbed. "I hate dance. I'm never going back to dance. I'm done dancing." I was like, whoa. Now, what would your first reaction to that be? Probably something like, "Man, what's going on? You don't hate dance. You're definitely not quitting after we just paid for all that overpriced costumes. Dang it." Or maybe, "You're fine. You love dance. You're being such a drama queen." Or maybe even, "First, young lady, don't you dare slam that door. You can try that again. And once you stop your bawling, we can march in there and figure this out." Now, would any of those help the situation? Probably not. If I pulled one of those responses and I dismissed or I disapproved of her emotions, she's not likely to open up to me about what happened, or she's going to feel really resentful toward me, her dad, who should be showing her love and compassion. So how did I really respond? I turned around and I held up the emotional mirror and I said, "Gosh, it sounds like you've had an awful time at dance. What happened?" And then she tells me all about what happened. The girls next to her were teasing her. And when she responded, the teacher caught her not paying attention. So she stops the music and she calls her out in front of the class. So I said, "Wow, man, that must have been really embarrassing to get called out in front of class. No wonder you're so mad and you don't want to go back." Now, it's important to point out that I didn't take sides and tell her she can quit or can't quit dance. I simply listened. I validated her feelings and reflected the whole drive home. So later on that night, when she'd calmed down and she's getting ready for bed, I sat on her bed and asked how she was feeling about it. She said that she didn't really want to quit dance, that she loves dance, but she didn't know what to do about the girls teasing her. So we problem solved together. One of the keys to this is not trying to teach or correct when your child's experiencing a really strong emotion. Just reflect what you're hearing and help them label their emotions. In fact, that's the next tip. Studies show that the act of labeling emotions can have a soothing effect on the nervous system, helping children to recover more quickly from their upsetting incidents. This process of self-soothing, it's huge. Kids who can calm themselves from an early age are more likely to concentrate better, they have better peer relationships, higher academic achievement, and good health. The key point is helping your kids find words to describe what they're feeling. This doesn't mean telling your kids how they ought to feel. It means helping them develop a vocabulary for expressing their emotions. So as you listen to a child in an emotional moment, remember that simply sharing an observation usually works much better than probing questions to get a conversation rolling. So one of the big takeaways from today is that feelings must be understood before behavior can be improved.